Hey everyone, so have you ever really stopped and looked at, say, a rock, and then at a rabbit, and just thought, what is the actual difference here? I mean, it seems super obvious, right? But what's the secret scientific checklist that separates all living things from, well, everything else? Today, we're going to crack that code. We're going to uncover the 7 key rules that define what it actually means to be alive. It really does all start with a simple question like this one. One is just there, and the other is absolutely bursting with life. But how do we, as scientists, draw that line in the sand? What are the biological rules that life has to play by? Well, the science that gives us all the tools for this quest is, of course, biology. And it's all right there in the name. It comes from these 2 Greek words, bios, which means life, and logos, which means knowledge. So biology is literally the knowledge of life. And that's exactly what's going to give us our framework for finding some answers. So here's the deal. According to biology, any living thing, and the fancy word scientists use is an organism, has to follow a very specific set of 7 key rules. You could think of it like a biological password. If you meet all 7 of these criteria, you're in the club. You are officially, scientifically alive. Okay, so you're ready for the official checklist? Let's dive in and break down the 7 characteristics that define pretty much all life as we know it. So here they are. We've got nutrition, respiration, excretion, reproduction, movement, growth, and irritability, which you'll also hear called sensitivity. Now I know, that sounds like a lot to memorize, especially if you've got a test coming up. But don't worry, we're going to make this way easier by breaking them down into 3 simple little groups. First up, let's talk about what I like to call the life engine. This first group of rules is all about the absolute essentials, how living things get their fuel, and this is the important part, how they turn that fuel into actual power. So rule number 1 is nutrition. Pretty straightforward, right? This is just the process of getting food. Every single living thing, no exceptions, has to take in nutrients to get the materials it needs for energy, for growth, and for repair. This is literally the fuel for the engine. And there's a huge split in how different organisms get this nutrition. Green plants are these incredible little chemical factories. They literally make their own food from sunlight through photosynthesis. But animals like you and me, we can't do that. We have to go out and find our food, whether that's eating a plant or eating another animal. So once you've got the fuel, what do you do with it? That brings us to rule number 2, respiration. And listen, this is not just about breathing in and out. In biology, respiration is the amazing chemical process of breaking down that food to release usable energy. This is the engine actually running, powering everything that organism does. Okay, so our life engine is fueled up and it's running. So what does all that energy actually do? Well, our next group of rules covers exactly that, action and development. This is all about how organisms use that power to move, to grow, and to interact with the world around them. Now, rule number 3 has a kind of funny name, irritability. But trust me, it doesn't mean being grumpy. In biology, irritability, or sensitivity, is simply the ability to notice and respond to changes in your environment. Think about a plant turning its leaves to follow the sun, or you yanking your hand away from a hot stove without even thinking. That's irritability in action. Next up, movement. And this one's a biggie. Living things move. But why? Well, to find food, to find a mate, to get away from danger, or just to find a better place to live. The key is that it's purposeful. And believe it or not, even plants move. It's just a lot slower, like when they grow towards a window to get more light. Take a look at this fish, for example. It's not just floating around randomly, right? It's actively using its fins and its body to push itself through the water. It's either hunting for something to eat or trying to escape from something that wants to eat it. For animals, this kind of purposeful, whole-body movement is absolutely key for survival. And our 5th rule is growth. Now, the super important word here is permanent. This isn't just about, getting bigger for a little while. It's a permanent increase in size and often in complexity. It's the journey from a tiny little seed to a giant tree, or from a single cell to a full-grown person. Growth is a fundamental part of being alive. All right, let's get to our final 2 rules, which really bring us to the circle of life. This is all about the big picture, how life manages to continue from one generation to the next, and how each individual organism basically keeps its own house in order. Rule number 6 is reproduction, and this one is, well, absolutely essential. It's the ability to create new similar organisms. I mean, think about it. Without reproduction, any species would just vanish after one generation. This is how life itself keeps the whole show going. And that brings us to our final rule, number 7, excretion. You see, all those amazing life processes, like respiration, they create waste products. And if those waste products just built up, they'd become toxic, and things would shut down fast. So excretion is the vital cleanup process. It's taking out the trash to keep the organism healthy and running smoothly. So there you have it, the 7 rules of life. Nutrition, respiration, all the way to excretion. Now, let's put this new knowledge to the test. A really great way to see these rules in action is to compare 2 huge and super different groups of living things, plants and animals. This chart really spells it out, doesn't it? It shows the totally different strategies that life can use. Both plants and animals are playing by the same 7 rules, but their methods are worlds apart. Just look at growth. A tree can keep growing its entire life, while most animals, like us, stop once we hit adulthood. Or think about response. An animal can leap out of the way of danger in a split second, but a plant's response is much slower, like turning its leaves to the sun over a whole day. It's the same biological rulebook, but a completely different game plan. So there we are. We have our 7 rules. If something takes every single one of those boxes, it's alive. Seems pretty clean, pretty simple, right? A nice, tidy definition to separate life from non-life. But let me just leave you with one final thought that completely blurs those nice, tidy lines. What about viruses? Think about it. They can reproduce, but only by hijacking a living cell and forcing it to do all the work. On their own, they can't do a thing. They don't grow, they don't respire, they don't excrete. They fail a whole bunch of our tests. So, based on our official rules, are they truly alive? That is one of the biggest, most fascinating debates in all of biology, and it just goes to show you that even when we think we have the rules all figured out, life always finds a way to be wonderfully, beautifully complicated. Thanks for digging into this with me today.